Reading this morning, at least at the opening bell, Jerome Powell spoke on the possibility of cutting rates. He spoke this over the weekend. Actually, this was on 60 Minutes. Roll tape, please.
Why not cut the rates now?
Well, we have a strong economy. Growth is going on at a solid pace.
Moving too soon would set off inflation again.
You could, or you could just halt the progress. If you move too late, then policy would be too tight, and that could easily weigh on economic activity and on the labor market.
Maybe a recession.
Right, and we have to balance those two risks.
You know, Fed watching is a fine art, isn't it? It's almost a religion in this country these days. Jeff Sica with us this Monday morning. All right, Jeff, in your opinion, having listened to Jay Powell, are we going to get a recession?
Well, what an epic night of entertainment last night with Jerome Powell on 60 Minutes and then the Grammys. And sitting through both of them made last night a very memorable experience for me. And,
Really?
you know, even that clip you just played, Stuart, I watched that clip. I've watched that clip over and over again, and I keep asking myself, what exactly is Jerome Powell trying to communicate here? Because we get these 11 interest rate hikes that bring us to this historically high interest rate. We're seeing this labor market, which, if you believe those numbers on Friday, we're on fire. So keep in mind, last week, we were all convinced that we're going to get a rate cut in March. Now we're not. Now it's not going to happen. So as far as when is the recession going to come, if he keeps rates this high for much longer, he will throw us into a recession. If he cuts rates, he could ignite inflation. He has a very difficult task today, but I don't feel very sorry for him because he put himself in this position. He put the nation in this position by keeping monetary policy too loose for too long. So we are on the precipice of a recession, but he could avoid that by strategically cutting interest rates.
He could do that.
He could.
But we never know what he's going to do, and he can't say, I'm going to cut rates this, and this. You can't say that. You've got to be confusing to your audience if you're the Fed chair.
No, he's very good at doublespeak. He's very good at pretending he's a hawk when we all know he's really a dove.
It's like talking to an economist on the one hand and then on the other hand. This Fed watching is mindless, isn't it?
Well, yeah. If I want to be baffled and confused, I could just watch Jerome Powell for 15 minutes. And you know what? I squandered my education, so I don't know a lot about how these economists think. But he is the most robotic, generic person. I would not be surprised if somebody plugs him in to the nightstand at night before he goes to bed.
Oh,
that's how robotic.
But I'll conclude with this. When you've got an economy growing like this, with job openings like this, and with a very strong employment market, I can't see a recession just around the corner. I simply can't see it.
No, I mean, if you believe the numbers, and granted, Stuart, there were a lot of part-time jobs in those numbers, a lot of people working 2 jobs. But if you believe that number, and I'm going to say something good about Jerome Powell, if you believe that number, and the labor market there's very little reason to cut interest rates, except there's something ominous in the future that has to do with the credit markets, which is what I believe he's concerned about, is the tight credit markets and when to loosen credit to take some of the load off the banks, which are going to be the ones who are going to experience problems.
I'm none the wiser about the economy from after last night, but there you go. Jeff, thank you very much indeed.